Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, and of course we've got some brand new seasonal events today because it's Thursday, and this week we've got the FF Challenge 430 PP. So of course, as usual, we'll go into each of the different races and all of the regulations, the car that I used, all of that good stuff. We'll start off with the entry requirements. It's a performance point maximum of 430, tyres maximum of comfort soft, and of course you need to have an FF drivetrain car. The 5 tracks that we're going to be racing is Autumn Ring Mini, Grand Valley East, Cape Ring South, Deep Forest Raceway, and a Toscana Tarmac Change Time Custom for the final one. The car that I've chosen to use is the premium Ford Focus SD. Of course, you can buy this straight out of the dealership. I've got a few custom modifications, including a pretty disgusting looking hood, as you can see there, but we'll go into the settings now. I haven't changed too much settings wise. Default brake balance, default suspension. I upgraded the clutch and flywheel, but I left the slip diff as the standard. On the transmission for the first race at Autumn Ring, you want to have it pretty low, maybe 118, 124, something around there. Just on the max speed, and then for everything else I think I used 145. No turbo kit, so that has one pre-installed anyway. Catalyst converter and the sports exhaust, the sports air filter but the standard intake, and then just, you know, touch the power limiter down to keep it within the 430 performance points, and if your engine is still breaking in you might need to tone that down after each race. But yeah, that's about it on the settings. We'll get straight on with Autumn Ring Mini. This is probably the hardest of the lot, and actually I've got to say, overall the difficulty level of this particular seasonal event is at a much higher level than, well, as far as I can remember, it's the hardest one for a good amount of time, and it did actually take me quite a few tries to get a good car, you know, something that I could get good times with. And actually get the wins, this one being the hardest, which took me quite a few tries to get that. You want to be lapping at, I think it was about 45, I'll come up in a second, but it has very little room for error, and it may even depend, you know, on the lineup. So sometimes you might get some faster cars up in the front, sometimes you might get some slower. There it is, so it is 45. You want to be getting no more than 45 seconds per lap. If you get into the 46s, you're probably going too slow. If you can get a couple of 44s, you're probably in the green. I think in this one I got one 44 lap and the rest were 45s, and you can see I take first about halfway round on the last lap, but they are short laps, and so just one error or one lap that's in the 46s and you will struggle for that one. So that's definitely a trickier course. Move straight into Grand Valley, and this one was a little bit easier. In fact, from here on in they were a little bit easier, but you still don't want to be making too many errors. You want to keep it pretty neat and tidy, make the overtakes at every opportunity. You really don't want to be held up behind the AI at any point, because again, like with the Autumn Ring, it is all about getting those consistently good lap times in, and slipping a couple of seconds on one lap here or there probably might make your life difficult for getting the gold. Getting that first place. As you can see here, I'm driving it pretty aggressively, using as much of the track as possible, in some cases just scraping over the grass a little bit, maybe just trading a bit of paint with the AI. As you guys know, I generally in these races don't pay too much attention to the AI just because I hate getting slowed down. It kind of just feels like a waste of time. Not to mention that today has been extremely hot and sticky in England, so I just like sitting in the chair just doing these. My back was getting sweaty, and I just like, it wasn't nice. I just wanted to get it over and done with, so didn't spend too long getting those perfect clean looking laps, but you know, got the good times that I needed to get the gold. Coming down the straight, when you're in the straights, make sure of course you're just getting as much of that draft as possible. If you just want to max out on your top speed, that is what you want to be doing. And I can get first place here about halfway round on the last lap, 4 out of 4 laps. I got in first was a Renault Megane Sport, I think it was, and get the first place, lapping about 117s there it looks like. Third track then is the Cape Ring South, so it's one of the shorter circuits of the Cape Ring. Again, on the straights, use as much draft as possible, but watch out because you do need to brake quite early for this corner here. This sharp left-hander which kind of goes up the hill. This one's got quite a nice flow to it. If you turn in just at the right time, you'll actually be able to go full throttle around most of these corners. You can see get on the outside of that guy just about, although did just bump him coming into this left-hander. But for all of these little left-right-handers, if you do get that turn in just right, you can just kind of burn rubber a little bit and go full lock left, right, and just go full throttle through them. And you'll actually find you gain quite a lot of time on the AI who go fairly slowly around them. That little kink, left right kink there, that one's quite tricky. You'll get kind of a bit of understeer coming off the left-hander, and you might find yourself running into the wall there. So do be careful, because again, this is not the easiest of tracks. You don't really want to be making any mistakes here either, as you might find taken first is a bit tricky, and I think I took him actually on the very final straight, or just before the final straight on the last lap. Again with this one, just stick to the very inside and just go full lock and you'll get around it. I just managed to dodge that Peugeot on the exit of the corner and stay on the track, but that was pretty hairy stuff there. Managed to just keep it in the track there anyway. And you can see again, as we come into the straight, just using as much draft as possible to boost that top speed down the straight. There's the first lap, was about a 1:33 maybe it was, so looking at about 1:33, 1:32 second laps. Taking first on lap 3 on this little S-bend towards the end of the lap, and I just take him under braking coming into that very final hairpin turn, the double apex. And finish the race there on lap 3. Move into Deep Forest Raceway. Again, some quite nice flowing lines. FF cars tend to handle pretty well here. There's some good positive camber, and again, you can kind of just go full lock, full throttle around some of the tighter turns like that one. Getting a good exit is important in a lot of these corners because of the hills and things like that. You really want to get good speed, but you can see here just full throttle, and I just sort of pop around the outside. Dab of the brakes to keep it in. Again there you might get a little bit of understeer as you go over the hills on the exits of the turns and things like that. So yeah, do be wary that, you know, generally speaking with FF guys you will find understeer, especially when the weight gets thrown around away from the front wheels. So over the crests of hills and things like that, like this section there, you might just find a bit of understeer. So turn-in points are crucial. If you can hit that apex just perfectly, you can go flying around the corner, but if you miss it just slightly, you will pick up a good amount of understeer. Anyway, drafting as usual down the straight sections, getting as much speed as possible, just the usual sort of thing. Fortunately here, the grass is fairly forgiving. If you do run a bit wide, the car's not gonna, you know, go crazy on you, and you can bring it back on the course. In fact, you'll see on the exit to this very final turn, I kind of took it a bit too fast trying to overtake this guy and just lost it a bit, but you can see I barely lost any speed, just managed to get back on the track. Was a bit dirty, but you know, as I said, it doesn't really make a big difference, and get the lap. So you're looking at sort of 134, 133 laps for this one. Even a 132 there I see, so you're looking for 132s I guess. I take first with a bit of space left on lap 3 out of 3, so that one was a little bit easier. And we'll move on to the final, which is a Tondela Custom, and this is probably the easiest of the lot in terms of getting the gold. The actual track though is quite tricky, lots of blind corners, as is quite frequent with these tracks. Lots of blind corners, lots of sort of weird off cambers and things like that, which really, especially on a car like this, can kind of throw it off, pick up crazy understeer. And the other thing to mention is they basically put in some crazy ramps in this one near the end of the lap, which you really need to watch out for, and I've actually got a good example of what not to do, because this was literally the first time driving this track myself. So I was basically playing it by ear, using the map as best as I could. So you'll notice that it's not exactly perfect. I'm just kind of following the AI's lines and trying to figure it out for myself. But yeah, it's not the cleanest of laps here. But as I said, it wasn't so difficult to get the gold on this one. Just colliding with the back of this guy. You can see here we get up to the top of this hill. Really slow through there, otherwise the car will just understeer like a madman and you'll end up in the barrier off to the right. And then here you really need to be careful. Is it here? No, okay, next left-hander, that's it. This place all looks freaking same, I don't know. But yeah, coming up to the end, there's a very risky left-handed jump which will just absolutely throw your car off. I think it's coming up just here. You get a left-hander. And there it is. So okay, so the track just dips down like that and you'll just jump, and basically if you do that, like you can see exactly there, I just lost all of the grip, no turning power, and into the wall. So what you want to do is, whilst it's kind of counterintuitive, you want to actually go wide around that corner and you'll find there's a lot more grip. Nice little jump at the end there. But yeah, you want to go wide around that one and avoid the ramp because you will just lose all of your grip. Actually, that final ramp is quite funny when you're behind someone. They kind of like fly off into the air and it looks quite amusing. Anyway, taking first on lap 3 about halfway round, and that was after that pretty severe crash from the weird sort of jump in the middle of the track, so not too hard. That kind of wraps it up. I hope you guys found this video useful, helpful. Leave some comments in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.